the North Carolina Chamber. Today with me is Secretary Tony Tata, Secretary of Department of Transportation for the state of North Carolina. Welcome, Secretary Tata. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your leadership and for what you're doing to strengthen our transportation network in the state. It's vitally important to economic development, as you know. Last year, with your leadership, the Strategic Mobility Fund was developed, Strategic Mobility Formula was developed and implemented and passed. How's it going, and what do we need to know?
That was a very important law to get passed. The governor's focus has been on leveraging infrastructure to create jobs for the state of North Carolina and all of our citizens. And so we got the bill passed in strong bipartisan format with 105-7 in the House and 44-5 in the Senate. And so now implementation of that law becomes paramount, and so we've been working very hard to make the rules for the 30-page law and then to make sure that we are implementing with fidelity. And so we started in last fall, winter, November, December timeframe, scoring the existing projects in the 10-year plan, and now we'll begin scoring new projects that are submitted by the metropolitan and rural planning organizations, and then we'll have a draft 10-year plan in the spring, late spring, early summer of this year that everyone can see, and it's a very transparent process. So we're really focused on implementing with fidelity the new law that really makes us more efficient, because it takes the politics out of the infrastructure business and makes it data-driven. And there's 3 tiers: the statewide, the regional, and division tiers, and each have data driving the needs of the state. And so as we look at this, instead of 14 different pots of money with the old equity formula, we're actually driving toward what the state needs from an infrastructure standpoint. So that's really one focus we've got. Another focus is to continue our efforts in customer service within DOT and within the Division of Motor Vehicles in particular. And we're going to continue to roll out those changes. And of course, as we think about the Strategic Transportation Investment Formula, you've got to think about how we're going to do things for the next 25 years. So the governor's tasked us with a 25-year vision to help him develop his vision, and he's hands-on with regard to this, and we should be rolling out his vision in about a month or so. And then when you think about that, how are we going to pay for all of this? And so we've got to begin a discussion on a sustainable way forward for infrastructure development. So the way we've looked at it, it's been be more efficient with the money we have, and that's really House Bill 817, the strategic transportation investments. And the second piece is develop a plan, have a vision, and what are those 10 or 15 things that we can do from a state perspective to make us an economic superpower over the next 25 years. And then that'll have a price tag, so how are we going to pay for it? And that's really our thought process here.
Oh, great. Well, a couple things. First, infrastructure and job creation and economic development are inextricably linked, and as you know from your previous experience, and also the business community knows, we have to get that right. What do you see some of the economic development opportunities using the strategic mobility formula and your plan for that? What do you see some of the economic development opportunities that will happen around that?
Well, some of the things that are coming to the top as we score these projects, and when you talk about reducing travel time or reducing congestion, increasing jobs, enhancing safety, and enhancing connectivity and multimodal connectivity, those are the 5 criteria that the lens through which all projects are viewed, especially at the state level. You see things like interstate widening, you see connections with rail coming up, you see connectivity to ports or the multimodal facility in Charlotte. So it just depends on the area, and it's going to be interesting as these projects come out. We're all waiting to see what scores the best, because it's really a needs-driven deal, and the movement of freight and commerce and the movement of people are paramount to the future of North Carolina.
You mentioned that we're going to have to find a way to pay for it. Look, going forward, we know that the current revenues are not meeting what our current needs are, and clearly not what our future needs are to invest in infrastructure. What are some things in general that you're looking at, some things that ways we can diversify our revenue streams that can help us put us on a more sustainable path?
Well, right now we're tied to the motor fuels tax revenue, which is declining because cars are more fuel efficient. We're tied to highway use tax, which is that 3% tax we pay on new or used vehicles, and it's a net. If you trade in a vehicle, then you pay the net of that transaction. And then we're also, and that's off the 2008 pre-recession highs, and so that money has come down from where it was. And then we have DMV fees, essentially, and because now we renew every 8 years instead of every 5 years our driver's license, even that revenue is down. And so we're really on an unsustainable path forward, particularly with electric cars and hybrid cars becoming more and more popular. So we have to unhinge from the motor fuels tax so that we can find a way to continue to build infrastructure. And so there's lots of different ideas out there. There's vehicle miles traveled is one concept. There's borrowing more money, bonds is another concept. We're in the bottom 10% of states that borrow for infrastructure, and we have a very good credit rating, so that's an option. Tolling is always something that's talked about, and either positively or negatively. It's a tough sell, depending on where you are. But we've incentivized that in the new law, and there are a host of other ideas. Virginia, we've looked at about 25 different states that have instituted some kind of revenue reform, and we're looking at best practices, what's working, what's not working, and we're going to make some kind of recommendation as we move forward that will be part and parcel of the vision that is going to go and be released here in the next month or so.
Well, we look forward to that vision.
Sure.
We look forward to continuing to work with you and put a plan together. And rest assured, you have the business community's support as we link that infrastructure with economic development. Very much appreciate your service to our state and for being here today.
Well, thanks, and I appreciate everything the North Carolina Chamber does for DOT and for the governor's vision.
Thank you. We know there's a lot more to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us for another version of Chamber Minute.